My name's Will, and today I'm going to be talking about loading JSON data with Neo4j. So first, a few prerequisites. We're going to assume that you've installed and started Neo4j, and also that you've installed the APOC procedure library, and that you're at least somewhat familiar with Cypher, the query language for graphs, and JSON. So our goal for today is to take a few JSON files, some documents, convert those to a graph model, import those into Neo4j so that we can then query across those documents. Let's look at the sample data we'll be using today. We'll be using some sample data from Yelp, information about users, businesses, and reviews that those users have written about businesses. So this is the basic graph model that we're going to build today. We want to model users, reviews, businesses, and categories as nodes in our graph with relationships that connect them. So the first thing we want to do is grab our sample data. We can conveniently grab that using wget and then unzip that data, a directory called reviews in my home directory. So now let's jump over to Neo4j browser and see how we can access these files from Neo4j. So we're going to use the APOC load JSON procedure and pass in the path to, in this case, the business.json file. We'll yield value and then return that value, but only the first 10. So what is that doing? Well, this APOC load JSON procedure parses the JSON file into a series of dictionaries or objects, which it then binds to this alias value that we can refer to later on in the query. In this case, we're just returning the first 10 value objects that we find, so we can just see in the output here the first 10 businesses that we have information about as dictionaries. So we haven't actually created any data yet. Let's go ahead and do that. So first, let's start with users. So call APOC load JSON, path to this user.json file. We'll yield the value, alias that to something called user, which we will then use the merge keyword in Cypher to create unique users. So merge takes a graph pattern, which we're identifying, in this case, a node within parentheses, and we want to make sure that the user ID value is unique, and then we're setting some values on that user node. And you can see we create 1,000 users. Now let's move on to businesses. In this case, it's very similar to our user nodes. We merge, we set some values, but we have a list of categories. So we're going to iterate over each category, create a category node, and create this in-category relationship to connect the business to the category that it pertains to. And finally, we want to import our user reviews. So we merge on the business and the user, then create the review node. We set some properties on that review node, and then again use merge, now with a more complex graph pattern, to create the wrote and reviews relationships connecting the review to the user or business. And so now we've added some data in Neo4j. We can view these, we can view users, we can view reviews, and we can traverse out from these reviews to see the businesses they pertain to, other reviews for that business, and so on. So that was a quick overview of importing Neo4j. I want to just mention a couple of resources. First, the Cypher ref card, which is the reference document for Cypher with Neo4j, and also the documentation for the APOC procedure library. So thanks everyone for watching.